Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of HarlequinCasts Dawn of War 2 Retribution. Today's game is going to be a very fast-paced 3 versus 3 featuring a lot of very skilled team players, very top-of-the-ladder kind of people out there. And, you know, it's been a while since I had a 3 versus 3 game on the channel. Figured, why the hell not? Why don't we mix things up and get a good game out there? So this map is going to be Argus Desert Gate. Again, it's a 3 versus 3 map. As you can see, it is themed with sort of the deserty kind of palette that we've seen before. It has the look and feel of a sort of desert, you know, a desert town, bazaar or trading center or something like that. Lots of walls, lots of gates, lots of different levels and channels for fighting to happen in. And let's take a look around the map right now, because this is a pretty quick, in terms of 3 versus 3 games, it's pretty quick. And I just thought we'd take a look around here and just kind of get a feeling for what to do. So you look at the mini-map of a map like this. Again, my eyes are down here in the lower left-hand corner, and it's just a pile of little symbols on the mini-map, and it's kind of hard to tell what's going on. So the important things to look for are victory points and power. And then usually requisition is just kind of thrown in there to kind of fill it all out. So taking a look around at, first off, you can see that having these long winding walls running all throughout the map here kind of naturally divided up into 3 channels. As you can see, there's a center lane, a left-hand lane, and then the right-hand lane is very divided off because you can see it's only connected by stairs, and it's got like a moat between it here, whereas the left-hand lane, you could theoretically bust through some of these points here and cross over. So the left-hand lane, we'll notice it has 3 power nodes and 2 requisition nodes. So 3 power nodes, this lane actually has the most power in it. Looking at the center lane, we'll notice it only has a single power node and 3 requisition points. However, it does have 2 victory points side by side. So the middle has the highest concentration of victory points, the lowest concentration of power. The left-hand side has the lowest concentration of victory points and the highest concentration of power. And on the far right-hand side, we kind of have the average of the 2, which is going to be 2 power nodes and 1 victory point. So this is kind of right in the middle here. So, but it's important to note that in terms of the difficulty of grabbing these victory points, in general, this victory point should be the one that's closest to your base, i.e. for the northern team. Note there's a little N on the map here. And this victory point down here should be the one closest to the red team. So these should be the easy one. This one should be the easy one for the red team. The next one up here should be the medium difficulty one, and then the one that's across in front of the other team's base is probably the hardest one to get. So in general, if you're trying to win with a 2-to-1 victory, you need to get this one and the one that's the medium difficulty one up here. So you kind of want to focus your attention on this one if you can, ninja capping the one that's in front of your opponent's base wherever possible. Woo! Okay, enough of the analysis of the map there. Let's go ahead and introduce these players because they are all definitely worthy of introduction. Looking at the blue team first, over here on the far left, we have playing today as the Commissar Lord, Mr. Caeltos. And if you missed it, we had Meet the Players interview with Caeltos, which is currently featured on my website. His ally to his immediate right is going to be Mr. Spirit, playing today as the Warlock here for the Eldar. And then their ally, again, is going to be Captain DarkRiku, another fine player we've seen a bunch of times out there, playing as the Apothecary. All of these guys are very highly ranked in 1 versus 1. They're like 2,000, 2,100. And in team games, again, the team game numbers go crazy. Like I know Spirit is at like 2,800 LO rating and things like that. Very, very highly ranked team players. Anyhow, on the other side of the map, playing as the red team, I'm going to start down here in the lower left-hand side of their base, rather. Playing as the Inquisitor, we have Mr. Edtjuh. And Edtjuh is a fantastic individual. And ooh, a little spoiler alert, he's going to be featured in the next Meet the Players. His ally today, frequent ally as well, is going to be Miss DirkRadix, playing as the Warp Spider Exarch. These two actually play a range team 2 versus 2s quite a lot, highly ranked as well. They're in the 2,500, 2,600 range, something like that. And then their ally over here, last but not least, is Mr. Raar, who I've not seen play a lot, but he has, again, equal status with a lot of these players in terms of highly ranked and whatnot. He, of course, will be playing as the Apothecary. Let's get this game started here and just kind of see how things divide up across the map now. That was kind of a lot of introduction, but I think it's very important to just kind of understand the flow of these maps. That way, when you realize, oh, I'm the middle player, what does that say to me? As the middle player, okay, that gives me access to potentially 2 victory points, but not a lot in terms of power here. So our other players. Meanwhile, the battles that are raging on the lower left-hand side here, this column here is all going to be for resources. If one team can control this left-hand side of the map, you'll have a ton of resources, but you may be losing in terms of victory points. Meanwhile, the right-hand side is probably the most important battle to win. So, because of course that's going to give you this swing victory point here that'll allow you to actually win the game by victory points. Already we can see that Miss DirkRadix has done a good job of capping the important bits here in the center, grabbing the victory point, and grabbing the power node. Way up here on the right-hand side, already sort of an interesting development here. You can see it looks like DirkRadix sent both of her Guardian squads, and then we have raar here sending his Tactical Marine squad up here with his Scouts and his Apothecary. So both teams, by the way, now we see Spirit is here with his Warlock, and Captain DarkRiku is here with his Apothecary. So both teams opting instead to send 2 whole armies to the northern side, and it looks like just the Warp Spider was kind of sneaking around down in the bottom capping here. So already we have some massive firefighting going on. DirkRadix pouring a lot of fire here into Spirit's Guardian squad, who took a lot of damage. The Warp Spider Exarch getting really nitty-gritty here, locking a lot of these guys into melee combat. Very intense fighting. It looks like the blue team was able to grab onto this victory point for the time being. However, there is quite an advantage here in terms of the red team's just kind of aggression level. However, it looks like the Tactical Marines and the Scouts right now for Captain DarkRiku are doing a pretty good job, although the Scouts being forced to retreat here. It looks like things are going to be going for the red team here. More towards the middle, it looks like the other Guardian squad from Spirit is capping that. And down way in the south here, we have massive fighting going on here. Already we can see a beautiful attack coming out of Edtjuh right now. Edtjuh ran in there with his Sentinel, stomped the ground, and knocked all these gentlemen aside, and now ran in with a whole bunch of Flamer upgraded Guardsmen combined here with his Inquisitor, pouring fire basically into all of Caeltos' Guardians here. So the southern side of the map right now is going to be Imperial Guard versus Imperial Guard, where the northern side is going to be, kind of, again, a mirror match here of having 2 Eldar players and 2 Space Marine players. So they actually paired off in a pretty nice way to keep track here. Looks like for the time being, Edtjuh has got control over the vital resources on the left-hand side of the map. Again, the Warp Spider Exarch is going to have free reign over the center, because not only can she blink across the maps and things like that, but also there's not a lot of competition here. We can see that Caeltos, perhaps in his retreat, sent his Commissar Lord more toward the center. You can see that the center lane is largely being ignored, and instead people are opting just to kind of ninja cap it as opposed to putting armies in there. The major conflict of this game right now is happening on the northern side. As we can see, we have a bit of a counterattack right now coming out of Captain DarkRiku and Spirit. Spirit is moving in here right now with his Shuriken Cannon weapons team, but you can see that the Scouts already having been upgraded here with a Sergeant, throwing a nice little hand grenade in there, kind of knocking back the Tactical Marines a little bit, but just kind of covering their retreat. But really the blue team has kind of brought their firepower in on the north here, and doing a little bit of damage there as well. That was the Warlock using that Destructor ability to kind of chase them away for the time being. Perhaps temporary control once again at this victory point is going back to the blue. But we can see that the Warp Spider Exarch is just owning up in the center. These little, I know there's action going on right now, but these little details here are things that can really cost the blue team the game. The fact that the DirkRadix is doing such a good job of controlling the center while everybody else is being distracted fighting. Not to mention a nice little free kill there on that Commissar that we saw kind of sneak off there earlier. Again, however, the blue team with a nice unified front is just charging in right now. Let me see here. By the way, just a little side note, I also heard from the blue team that they had never actually played 3 versus 3 with this particular arrangement before, so this was new to them, but I know DirkRadix and Edtjuh, at the very least, are old hands at that. Taking a look up here, we can see that a lot of pressure going on right now on the red team's main power node up here in the north. We can see 2 power nodes have been set up here, and kind of a variety of people have purchased various upgrades for it, various generators for it. You can see that it looks like Captain DarkRiku with his Tactical Marines are coming in right now with the Flamethrowers, doing a phenomenal gen bash up top. We have a little bit, we have the full auto ability being used by the Apothecary, and unfortunately that was able to hold down Spirit's Warlock long enough to just get him completely killed there. And now just taking a look at the different armies, you can see Captain DarkRiku and raar both have got their Assault Marines on the battlefield right now. DarkRiku is going to be the darker one, which is very handy, whereas raar has got the white units right now. So we've got kind of white on green Assault Marines going on after each other right there. And we had Lairman's Blessing, obviously, was just used by DarkRiku as well, picking up the Warlock. Warlock is going to continue putting pressure on some of these Rangers and whatnot here. It's important right now. There's so much action going on. I'm just going to pause for a second because I can, and just take an inventory of everybody's armies real quick, because it's very easy to lose track of all this stuff. Already we can see lots of casualties on both sides. But just to take a look at some of the build orders, we can see here that it looks like Spirit went for double Guardian Squad, Shuriken Weapon Team, and Rangers, actually. DirkRadix instead went for the Guardians and Rangers, and now a second Ranger Squad coming out there right now. We saw nearly identical builds from both raar and from Captain DarkRiku going into the Scout Squad, Tactical Marine Squad, and then the Assault Marine Squad. The Assault Marines combined with the Apothecary, very powerful early game ability. And similarly, I don't believe we ever saw any Sentinels out of Caeltos. He instead, I think he had triple guardsmen during the beginning part of that, and then went to Catachan Devils. Meanwhile, Edtjuh had a couple of guardsmen, Sentinel, and Catachan Devils. So a couple of losses have been had by either side. But that's just a quick recap. Let's go ahead and continue watching the action now. We can see Caeltos is kind of pulling out of the lower left side, moving into the middle, trying to cap some of this stuff here that is under control, or at least was wildly captured here by DirkRadix earlier on. We can see that the blue army is really advancing far, perhaps even too far. But Captain DarkRiku taking some casualties finally on his Assault Marines here, but continuing to do some pretty good damage there. We can see it looks like Spirit's Warlock is getting knocked around a little bit here. The Tactical Marines from DarkRiku are doing a fine job, but here comes that ebb and flow kind of feeling now. These troops have all reinforced and are heading back in now, so the blue team is going to lose this. However, the permanent victory that they had from this was they took out that generator farm, so that's pretty good. More towards the center, again, we can see Caeltos here just cleaning up on the central power node. And down on the bottom here, Edtjuh is just kind of using his flamethrowers to inflict some casualties on some of Caeltos' troops that were kind of attacking him from the bottom there. Edtjuh, again, moving around here with the Inquisitor. The Inquisitor does have the crossbow pistol upgrade, which gives that crippling volley ability, a great AoE kind of stun effect, or at least a snare effect. So that's kind of useful in big team games like that. So let's take a look around now. Victory points are almost dead even. However, the blue team is up 2-1 in terms of control of victory points. Both teams are at around 400. Taking a look down here in the south, we have another concerted attack going by Edtjuh. Edtjuh has managed to capture a lot of this frequently. This is probably the first time he's pushing up far enough to actually put pressure on the power generators. Backed up here by his Sentinel and the Catachan Devils. Pretty cool uses there. And looks like, yes, he's going to be going for a multi-laser turret here just to kind of hold off any sort of counterattack. Great field of fire on that. That's looking pretty good. And things have calmed down a little bit. You can see that it looks like the red team up north here, raar and DirkRadix, are getting ready to put some pressure here on the north. I like what DirkRadix is doing here, using the warp gates. Now, usually if you're using the Farseer has the warp gates that automatically infiltrate and grant infiltration. But really, all Eldar players have that, so it's kind of nice to be able to use it just strictly for reinforcing purposes, even if it's not camouflaged. You can see here the Rangers are holding off here, and just kind of a light skirmish here, but honestly, DirkRadix and Caeltos are both kind of using some units to try and hold on to this, but it looks like Edtjuh just has got the initiative here and is going to be able to burn this whole place down. He's taking out the last generator right now. Again, the flamethrower is very useful, and it looks like the Inquisitor is even capturing this victory point. And there goes that Sentinel just kind of busting through the wall there. So on the right-hand side right now, I'm not sure. It looked like the blue team kind of pulled out and went more towards the middle here, because on the right-hand side, the red team pushed up and is about to capture this victory point kind of unopposed. So it looks like a concentration of blue team forces in the center. They are right now, looks like DirkRadix is kind of defending, trying to recapture that victory point there. And we do have Edtjuh's Sentinel up here was decapping the victory point. So still lots of volatility in terms of who controls what, but Edtjuh definitely controls the left-hand side of the map right now, even putting some improvised explosives near that power node there. So that's looking pretty good. On the right-hand side, more towards the top, we can see that the red team has just flooded in this area and is just dominating right now. They're about to destroy this entire power generator, so kind of a little bit of tit for tat there, able to kind of you know, exact the same toll on their opponents here. But now here comes the blue team. Unfortunately, they were suckered away from the top and kind of were messing around in the middle there a little bit. Now they're coming back. Gonna just kind of, you know, have a little bit of a counterattack here. Looking around right now.